brothers and sisters, rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, sole Master's Day of Judgment in which we now live. The alone do we serve, and the alone seek for thine help and aid. O Allah, guide us on the right path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray after they heard thy teachings. Say he, Allah is one God. Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there is none like him. And I bear witness and none deserve to be served, worship of praise beside Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad is our true servant and last apostle. Ameen. I'd like to say in the name of Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad, and in the name of his last and greatest messenger, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, I'd like to greet the brothers and sisters with the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace. Assalamu alaikum. And today we want to continue our talk on which one will survive the war of Armageddon. And today we want to talk about the hypocrites, because that's a topic that's not talked about a lot in what we call the New School Nation of Islam. It's the hypocrites. Because in the New School Nation of Islam, the definition for hypocrites have changed. Like a lot of the meanings and the interpretation that the messenger had for many things have changed in what we call the New School Nation of Islam. Because in today's Islam, hypocrite means like, if I don't accept your leader, I'm a hypocrite. You know, your leader, you say he's the messenger of Allah today. If I don't accept that, I'm a hypocrite. Or if I don't accept the fact, or if I don't accept you saying that the messenger chose your leader, I'm a hypocrite. That's not what the messenger defined for us as what a hypocrite was and a believer, because he defined both in Message to the Black Man. And we want to start with page 259 of Message to the Black Man. The messenger says, the messenger believes in what has been revealed to him from his Lord, and so do the believers. And that's in Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 285. He says, a true follower of the messenger believes as the messenger believes, but a hypocrite pretends he believes, but is not at all a believer. He says, there are those who claim they are believers, but are sympathizers of the hypocrites. Those are the ones who will never say anything one way or the other, fearing that they will show their sympathy for the hypocrite. Now, the messenger says first, the messenger believes in what has been revealed to him from his Lord. So Master Farad Muhammad revealed the truth to the messenger. The messenger believes that. Then he says, a truth, and so do the believers, excuse me. The messenger believes in what has been revealed to him from his Lord, and so do the believers. So that's saying a believer believes in what has been revealed to the messenger. That's what constitutes a believer. Believing in what has been revealed to the messenger. That's what a believer is. Then the messenger says a true follower of the messenger believes as the messenger believes. So once again, he letting us know a believer believes as the messenger believes. So if a brother comes or a minister comes to us and say, I think that we should start doing Dianetics because that's something that I found, and I believe that that's good for believers. That's not as the messenger believes. If you believe that and you start practicing Scientology, that's not a belief as the messenger believes. So that's not a believer. The messenger defined for us what's a believer. And he said a true follower of the messenger believes as the messenger believes, but a hypocrite pretends he believes, but is not at all a believer. And then he says there are those who claim they are believers, but are sympathizers of the hypocrites. So he gives us three definitions. He said there are some who claim to be believers, but are sympathizers of the hypocrites. They sympathize with these brothers who turn hypocrite and not their leaders. So when these hypocrites come up with new teachings, they sympathize with the hypocrites, acting like, oh, we believe in the messenger, but we believe that the messenger left him in charge. So when he changed some teachings, I believe that I'm a believer, but I just follow through him. No, that's not what the messenger said a believer was. A messenger says a true follower of the messenger believes as the messenger believes. That was his definition of a believer. He didn't, all praise is due to Allah. He didn't tell you a believer is believe as a minister believes. He says a true believer or a true follower of the messenger believes as the messenger believes. But a hypocrite pretends he believes, but is not at all a believer. So the way we judge a believer or not is, did the messenger believe that? If you claim that you the son of man, all these brothers, because brothers are giving themselves new titles now. So if I'm a believer, all I have to say is, did the messenger believe that you was the son of man? Did the messenger believe that? Did the messenger believe when the messenger says that we have MGT, his MGT class? A brother wanted to change it to say MWT, Muslim Women's Training. Did the messenger believe that? When brothers say the black man is God, and they say we don't pray, did the messenger believe that? That's how you can tell who the hypocrites and the believers are. Did the messenger believe? Because this is what all praise due to Allah. This is what the messenger said. It's not, Islam is not a thing where we like in Christianity we make it up how we want to do it. Like if we don't like certain things, we can kind of tweak it for ourselves. Like if I don't like that the messenger says we pray, I don't like praying, so I start believing in a brother who say you don't have to pray. No, that's not how Islam works. The messenger was the truth was revealed to the messenger. It's a fact we didn't know the truth. We didn't know the black man was the original man. That's the fact. We didn't know that. But the messenger, the truth was revealed to him from Allah. And when he gives us this truth, we say, oh, I believe that. When you say that the black man is the original man, I believe that. When you say that Master Farad Muhammad is God, I believe that. When you say you the messenger of Allah, I believe that. That's what we're doing. We're not here to reinterpret anything. We just saying, I believe what he said. That's what believers are. It's not for you to say, well, I think now, since the messenger not here, I think we need another leader. Nah, because all we can do is bear witness. All praise is due to Allah. All we can do, if I have a message, you didn't know this before, and I tell it to you. I say, it's a car outside. You didn't know that. So you can't come now and reinterpret. All you can do now is believe that it's a car outside. Believe or disbelieve it. It ain't for you to say, well, I don't think so. Or, no, if you a follower of me, and I'm telling you it's a car outside, and you say you following me, you got to believe what I'm telling you. It ain't no, now you can reinterpret it for yourself. No, that's not a believer. A believer believes as the messenger believe, because you saying you don't know. You just believe. We don't know nothing about no 24 scientists. What we know about that? Don't know nothing about that. We just believe it because the messenger said it. I believe it. You give me evidence, okay, I believe what you're saying. I ain't never seen 24 scientists. I never was here 66 trillion years ago. What I know about 66 trillion years ago? I don't know nothing about that. I don't know. But I believe that the messenger was taught by Allah. So if he say the moon was blasted away, hey, I believe it. What do I know? I don't know. But I believe what he said. That's what a believer is. And a follower believes as the messenger believes. So we see, because we want to see and go even further on how much the messenger believed in what he was doing. Because the messenger, when you, this is why I always urge Muslims to read the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. Because you will see how the messenger didn't just tell us one thing and do something else. When the messenger taught us what a believer was, that was across the board. That went for his wife, that went for his children, that went for his ministers, that went for everybody. What he said a rule was, it didn't go for some and didn't go for others. This was in the January 1st, 1965 Muhammad Speaks newspaper. And this says, Decree Akbar Muhammad. And this is Akbar Muhammad right here, which is the youngest son of the messenger. And this is the messenger when the messenger went overseas to the east in 1959. Akbar was with him. And we see a picture of Akbar in the east with his father. Now, in the January 1st, 1965 Muhammad Speaks, which says, Decree Akbar Muhammad. It says on Sunday, November 29th, 1964, at Muhammad's Temple number 7, New York City, a speech was made by Akbar Muhammad containing statements and views which were not in keeping with the teachings and principles of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the messenger of Allah. It has therefore been decreed by the messenger that Akbar Muhammad is no longer to be regarded as a follower of his father in what Allah has revealed to his father in the person of Master W.F. Muhammad. Akbar is now classified as a hypocrite by his father and by all those who follow him. The Honorable Elijah Muhammad, in tradition of all great spiritual leaders of modern and ancient times, will forever defend the truth entrusted to him by Almighty God Allah, and neither kith nor kin nor defectors of any kind will be allowed to alter the obligation or the divine mission the messenger is destined to accomplish for his people. Now this is his son. You know, people who have children, you know how much you love your children. And the last thing you would want to do is to classify your son as a hypocrite. That's the last thing you want to do. Because once you classify him as a hypocrite, it's like, go your way. You know, the messenger said the Muslims hate the hypocrites just as much as Allah hates them. That's what he said. He didn't cut or pull punches because my son is a hypocrite. He heard the believers reported to the messenger what Akbar said. The messenger say you're a hypocrite then. If he's saying that, I taught my son. I know he know what it is. So if he's saying that, he a hypocrite. That's how the messenger was, with all praises due to Allah. That's how the messenger was, and if you read it, it says that Akbar made a speech. A speech was made by Akbar Muhammad containing statements and views which were not in keeping with the teachings and principles of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, messenger of Allah. Now let's talk about principles. What does principles mean? It says principle is a fundamental truth or position that serves as the foundation for a system of belief or behavior or for a chain of reasoning. So if a principle is the fundamental truth or position that serves as the foundation for a system of belief. So let's just talk about the headpiece. That's a fundamental principle in the Nation of Islam, and sisters wear their headpiece. So if you got a Muslim, a minister that says, well, I think that the sisters don't have to wear their headpiece no more. Or you make it as it's an option. Say, well, I think, you know, it's up to you whether you want. No, you opposing the messenger, because the messenger, that was a fundamental principle when the messenger was alive. And he classified his son as a hypocrite because what he said did not keep with the teachings and principles. Because a lot of people know how to say what the messenger said. Everybody can repeat what the messenger said, but is what you saying the same interpretation of what the messenger? Because I can say the black man is God. I can say that. But if you think that you are God over Master Farad Muhammad, did the messenger say that? He never said that. Or you think you are God and you self-independent. Or you think you make hail, rain, snow, and earthquakes. That's not what the messenger said, but I can repeat what the messenger said. Oh, the black man is God. The black man is the original man. You know, he's the last and the greatest messenger of Allah. I can say that all day. But the messenger, when he classified Akbar as a hypocrite, he said that he did not keep into the teachings and principles of what the messenger said. It ain't just that you know what the messenger said and you can quote it and you can recite it and you can say it. I believe the messenger is the last and greatest messenger of Allah. Because everybody say that. All of these groups that's supposed to be affiliated with the Nation of Islam, they say they believe that the messenger is the last and the greatest messenger of Allah. Many of them say they believe that Master Farad Muhammad is God. Many of them say that. But you believe that some other brother now is in the place of the messenger. Or this brother that saw the messenger on the wheel. Like, where, if we gonna believe that, who are we supposed to entrust with that? Who taught us that? Like, we supposed to trust you? You know what I'm saying? If you telling me that the messenger on the wheel, I don't know. I mean, I wasn't there in 75. So if you telling me the messenger on the wheel, who saw him? Like, who do we entrust with this information? Like, where are you getting it from? Like, why the person that told you, or this evidence you had, why it's not presented to everybody? Why we just got to trust what you say? You saying you saw him, or you talked to him. Like, so that's why the messenger taught the believers that a believer believes as the messenger believes. So if a brother is telling you something that you know the messenger didn't believe, he could be classified like this brother must be a disbeliever or a hypocrite or something, because the messenger didn't tell us that. It's all praises due to Allah. Especially when you talk about fundamental principles. You know, the messenger being the last and the greatest messenger, that's fundamental. Sisters wearing their headpiece, that's fundamental. Brothers shaving, that's fundamental. You can't tell a brother he can wear a beard. No matter how much you think that's something small. It ain't, that's why when the messenger said the FOI is the military training of the men that belong to Israel, it ain't no small rules in the military. If you gotta shave, you gotta shave. It ain't no small rule. If they say you can't chew gum on base, that's not a small rule. If they see you chewing gum on base and the rule is you can't, they'll get just as mad if they see you not shaving. I always like to refer back to the military because I don't remember small rules. I don't remember reinterpreting rules. I don't remember, like you had in the Marine Corps, you had sergeants. You had sergeants that did great things. Some sergeants get Medal of Honors, but he's still just a sergeant. He's not no honorable sergeant. Now all the sergeants looking up to him because he did something good, or he keep doing something good. Once he get his award, that's it. We all fighting. Ain't no other sergeant looking up to another sergeant if I'm the same rank as you. All praises due to Allah. That's military. That's fundamental. FOI is the military training of the men. So if a brother telling you he a minister over other men, like, brother, where you getting that from? That's not military. When you making appointing brothers as these high level, like, no, brother, that's not military. Where can you find in the military that a sergeant, he an honorable sergeant? When you make sergeant, all sergeants is the same. He might have, his post might be, while he on post, he might have a post that makes him have authority over you. Like say he might be at the Pierce Sentry, let's say, and he checking people that come in. So you might be an equal pay grade with him, but while he on his post, he could tell you, no sir, you can't go this way or you can't go there. He could tell an officer that because that post gives him the authority while he on it to tell you what that post requires him to tell you. And it's not him, it's the post. It's not you, because tomorrow or when your watch over, somebody who relieve you about to take that same post you had, and when you leave, that authority that you had, you don't have no more. You don't just keep that because you are the sergeant. I'm Sergeant Khalil. So now I got this post, and now when I leave the post, I'm still telling you, nah, brother, nah. Once my 4-hour watch is over, that authority that I had for that post is over too. It's not that I just had that authority just because nah, that's not military. And brothers, when they coming up with all this new stuff, like, what does that have to do with military? It don't. And if we look at the fundamental principles that the messenger gave to us, a lot of this new school stuff, you wouldn't believe it if you believed it. There's no way you could. There's no way you could think that any brother was left in charge. Because if we doing how to eat to live, and we following what the messenger told us in the how to eat to live, why do I need a brother to be anything over me to tell me to follow that if we was following it under the messenger? Because all the messenger said his job was is to get us the truth, and the truth is out here. So why do you need a special brother to tell you like we gotta follow us? Nah. And this is not to disrespect anybody. You could believe what you want to believe. We're not here to be arguing with brothers trying to reconvert. We just want to state our position and how we feel as believers. We're not trying to disrespect nobody. If you believe a certain brother is talking to the messenger on the mother plane, we ain't mad at you if that's what you want to do. But we as believers and the messengers just want to state our position and how we believe. All praises to Allah. We don't want people to think that we're here to bash anybody. We're not here to bash you, but if we want to separate ourselves from the people who believe in other teachings other than what the messenger said, that's all we trying to do. We're not trying to disrespect you. We're not trying to bash you. We're not trying to reconvert you. We're not trying to do nothing. We're just trying to let those of like mind, like us, come help us, and we can unite and keep pushing the messenger teachings forward. That's the purpose. It's not to bash anybody. It's not to disrespect nobody. It's not to change what you believe. It's just to state the position of how we believe as the messenger believes. All praise is due to Allah. So we can go and look at more fundamental principles of when the messenger was alive. And we could talk about unity. That's one thing that I think too that's just repeated. We repeat we want unity. But are we repeating what the messenger said about unity? And we could go to the September 23rd, 1966 Muhammad Speaks newspaper. And this says, New York minister urges unity behind Muhammad. Now, we could say in today's Islam that we want unity. But when we talk about unity today, we're not talking about unity under the crescent of Islam. And this is why the messenger wanted the actual facts board to be up at every temple, so everybody can see the distinctions between Christianity and Islam. Because the thing that we must remember is that all of these black groups progressed. In the 1930s, there were no Black Panthers. There wasn't all of these radicals that we see today that's coming out with all these different black religions, all these conscious people. It wasn't that. It was mainly Islam versus Christianity. And if you look into the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, you will see that in the early 60s, when the Muhammad Speaks first came out in 1961, 1960, all the way up until probably about 1968. Then you start seeing Muslims talking about other black militants. Because around 1968 is when James Brown came out with the song, I'm Black and I'm Proud. Because black has started to finally stick with black people. And they started to drop the term Negro. And this was because of the messenger. Because we can't look at any teachings from the Black Panther Party that will give us any inkling that they were speaking against using the term Negro. Or any other group. It was the messenger. So when we look at when the messenger and the Muhammad Speaks newspaper was talking about unity, brothers wasn't saying we just want to come together with all of these different groups, because people used to ask them that. They used to ask them like, what does the Muslims see as unity? This comes from the June 3rd, 1972 Chicago Daily Defender. And it says, black unity possible under Allah, says Muslims. So the interviewer asked the question. He says, are they efforts to establish working relationships with other organizations that are trying to implement similar programs? For example, the Reverend Jesse Jackson, or Operation Push, indicated his support of the Muslims and expressed a desire that Operation Push East here in New York establish a rapport with the Muslims. So they even used to name names. Because that's one thing that I love about a lot of these black publications. They used to name the names. Muslims used to name them too. When they used to have something against a person who was teaching the messengers, who was stealing the messengers' teaching, they would say their names. They would say the group. They would tell you what teachings that they was taking from the messenger and everything. It wasn't this, like in today's Islam, it's like it's just information. They had this brother, and I don't mean no disrespect to him. His name was Dr. Sabi. This brother said that he was in the nation. He said that he met with the messenger and everything. He had teachings talking about eating healthy. Stuff coming straight up out of the How to Eat to Live. Muslims supporting this brother. Muslims, when he died, was, they act like they was hurt too. Which, hey, if that's you, that's you. They act like they was hurt, talking about he did good things too. Muslims didn't do that when the messenger was alive. If you were still in the teachings of the messenger, Muslims wouldn't get on board with you like, oh, you doing good with, nah. They took it personal when you stole the messenger's teachings and you was all praises due to Allah. And you was out front teaching people something different than what the messenger said. Nah, you didn't get support from Muslims when the messenger was alive. This was fundamental. You didn't see Muslims do that. But today, Muslims support anybody. This brother, Dr. Sabi, no disrespect to him, but I wouldn't support Dr. Sabi, especially after he done said that he used to be a follower of the messenger. It ain't nothing he could tell me about How to Eat to Live. I wouldn't tell no lost found about this brother. He can do what he want to do, and anybody who wanted to support him can support him. I ain't mad at y'all. Praise due to Allah. I'm talking about what a believer would do. When you see these believers, because the messenger said that there are those who claim to be believers but are sympathizers with the hypocrites. If you talking about you believe that the messenger is the last and the greatest messenger of Allah, You said you believe what he got from the mouth of Allah. Now you got this brother, Dr. Sabi, which we mean no disrespect to him, said that he got teachings from the messenger. Now he teaching healthy eating. And you a Muslim, talking about you support him. You telling lost founds about this brother. You acting like the stuff he's saying he coming up with himself or he doing good. That's new school Islam. And that wasn't keeping up with the teachings and principles of the messenger. You didn't see Muslims doing that. You didn't see Muslims trying to align themselves with people who were still in the messenger's teaching. You didn't see them do that. So after the interviewer asked the then national representative the question about unity, he said, we will work with any group whose programs are in harmony with ours. In harmony. Not that you just talking some kind of black talk. He said, we will work with anybody whose programs are in harmony with ours. Then he said, we cannot work with those whose teachings run counter to that which Allah has revealed to his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. That was Muslims back in the day. And it wasn't no big, because this right here, when you read the Muhammad Speaks newspaper, you had Muslims who was real politically correct in their answer. And this right here was a real politically correct answer. Because you had, and a lot of these articles you read from MGT. They articles used to be real fiery when they used to be talking about the messenger, especially calling out people. But this right here was real politically correct. But when you go to the Muhammad Speaks newspaper and listen to believers writing about these people, man, it wasn't always politically correct. And I'm telling you, every time the messenger went somewhere and spoke, and it was other black leaders there, they never gave them leaders any credit like they doing good too. They would criticize them, like, why you not with the messenger? That was the standard for black with Muslims. Why you not with the messenger? All praise is due to Allah. I don't care what you talking about. I don't care how many guns you carrying. I don't care how many people like you. Why you not with the messenger? Why you not helping the messenger? The messenger got farmland. The messenger setting up banks. The messenger got fish. The messenger cleaning up black people. Why you not helping him? We don't want to hear nothing about what you talking about. I even read an article where this brother, Jesse Jackson, was giving the messenger props. And this showed you how fiery Muslims was during the time of the messenger. And we want to separate the new school nation of Islam from the nation of Islam under the messenger. Because even when you see fiery brothers today, it ain't the same kind of fire. Brothers fiery today about their leader. They're not fiery about the teachings of the messenger. Very few Muslims are fiery about the teachings. Now, I could be fiery about my minister because he attracting a lot of people and he popular. So I'm real fiery about it. But Muslims, when the messenger was alive, was fiery about Islam in the 30s. When there was a few Muslims. When they used to write Time magazine articles about the Muslims, they was talking about how these Muslims, they used to call them Muslims. They were like, these Muslims are just as fiery as they was during the time of the prophets. And this is what they would write in Time magazine about Muslims. What they know about the time of the prophets. But that's what they used to say. Because Muslims used to talk about how the white man was the devil. Used to call them cavies. They used to have slang terms for the devil. Cavy. Call him a cavy and a skunk. In the 30s. That's what they used to report in Time magazine when they interviewed Muslims. Muslims calling the white man a skunk. When they found the teachings of the University of Islam, they found the white man is the devil. That's what they saw. They didn't see all of this apologetic stuff. Because very few Muslims today are fiery about the teachings. When you find a Muslim today, most of the time they fiery about another leader. They real fiery about helping him. But as far as being fiery about the teachings and what the messenger brought, there's very few people who fiery. Like, it's very few people who would just flat out say, I ain't trying to unite with nobody who ain't with the messenger. I don't care what you think. I mean, if you're not with the messenger, we not here trying to unite with nothing under no Christianity. The messenger said, when he talked about unity, he said, if what you have is better than what I have, I would take my followers and come and follow you. Saying, if what you got, because I'm not going to try to add what I have to what you got, if what you got better than what I have. I'm just going to say, okay, you have something better than me, so I'm going to take all my followers and follow you, because you must know
what you talking about if what you have is better than what I have? But he said, but if what I have is better than what you have, you should come and take your followers and come and follow me. That was unity with the messenger. It was all praises due to Allah. So those of us who believe in the messenger today feel the same way. If what you have is better than what the messenger have, we will come follow you. But we don't see nothing you have better than the messenger had. So what you need to do is take your followers and come follow them. If you don't want to do that, we ain't mad at you. But salam alaikum, brother. Salam alaikum, sister. We don't care nothing about all of this black stuff. We want to follow the messenger. He told us what black was. When black people were scared to come outside, and this is a thing that happens today with people who criticize the messenger. They talk about, well, you know, we had Black Wall Street. That's what they like to say. Whenever you talk about the accomplishments of the messenger, people who discredit the messenger like to bring up all these black people who did stuff too. You know, they own airlines, Black Wall Street. You know, you have black people who, you know, they own businesses, they own hospitals. No, Black Wall Street ain't had nothing on the messenger. That's the bottom line. Black Wall Street didn't do the same thing the messenger did. They might have had their own businesses, but the messenger wasn't talking about having our own businesses. He talking about being universal rulers. They wasn't trying to do that in Black Wall Street. They were still eating hog in Black Wall Street. They were still Christians in Black Wall Street. They were still going to church. They were still wearing the white man's name. They still love the devil. They wasn't trying to build nothing independent of the devil. They couldn't integrate with the devil. The devil the one that kicked them to black people to the curb. So all of this good, that's good. We happy that Black Wall Street existed. We proud of them. That's good that they had their own. But they wasn't advocating separating from the devil. They didn't say that in Black Wall Street. They wasn't telling their kids that the white man is the devil. They wasn't saying let's eat healthy, let's fast, let's pray to our God. We gonna rule. You don't gonna no longer rule over. They wasn't saying that in Black Wall Street. They wasn't saying that, and none of that these black people now try to point to as like that was progress for black people too, trying to discredit the messenger. And we don't take nothing from Black Wall Street. But when we talk about the success of the messenger, he was better than Black Wall Street. He was better than anything that black people ever did in the hells of North America. And them facts, all praises due to Allah. And we're not here all the time to try to belittle our brothers and sisters. We're not trying to do that. But when we talking about the messenger, ain't nobody in the same league with the messenger. So when you try to compare things to the messenger, it's like, no. It's just like when I remember when I was coming up, the argument was who was better, Tupac or Biggie. I like Tupac. I mean, I didn't dislike Biggie, but if I had to choose one, mine was Tupac. So in today's world, in religion, I like the messenger. I'm not against Black Wall Street, but I'm with the messenger, just like a brother who liked Tupac over Biggie. He don't dislike Biggie. I bought Biggie CDs. I listened to Biggie too. When Biggie came out with a new CD, I bought it. When Tupac came out with a new CD, I bought it. I respected them both. I seen the good in both of them. But if I had to choose one, I would choose a Tupac. And that's how it is with the messenger. And we arguing just like we would be arguing about Tupac and Biggie, because that was an endless argument. Brothers could argue about that all day. Who was better, Tupac or Biggie? And even now, the argument now is who better, what is it, LeBron James or Michael Jordan? I mean, it's like people can see the good in both of them. But if you had to choose one, or if you had to say one had better qualities than the other one, it's like I see more in this one than I do in that one. It's not that you disrespecting them. So when we as Muslims talk about Marcus Garvey, I respect Marcus Garvey. And I said in a previous lecture that Marcus Garvey's ships didn't leave America. That was a mistake. I was meaning to say his ships never went to Africa, because his ships actually did leave America, but he never went back to Africa. But I respect Marcus Garvey. I think Marcus Garvey did great things, but when we compare Marcus Garvey to the messenger, there's no comparison. Marcus Garvey didn't teach that the black man was God. He didn't teach that. And I know I've just found out something recently that Marcus Garvey, in his book called The Thoughts and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, he talked about Allah. I was shocked. I was like, wow, it's on the last page of his book. He even speaks about Allah being God. And they talked about how people who do the history on Marcus Garvey talked about how he got a lot of his teachings and influence from a brother named Deuce Muhammad. Like, you just can't get away from Islam. But the fact of the matter is that I don't believe that Marcus Garvey could touch the messenger. Even all praise is due to Allah. That's not saying that I'm disrespecting Marcus Garvey. But Marcus Garvey didn't teach us that the black man was God. Marcus Garvey wasn't as successful as the messenger. Marcus Garvey, the white man destroyed Marcus Garvey, even though we love him, even though he did great things. If the white man destroyed you, what I'm about to do now with what you taught? How can I look up to you like I look up to the messenger when the white man didn't destroy the messenger? The messenger died on top. And if we want to look at successful leaders, let's look at these leaders when they died. Huey P. Newton, when he died, was the Black Panther Party at the top? No. When John Henry Clark, we don't mean no disrespect to him, when he died, was he at the top? Did he leave black people with anything? Dr. Yosef Ben Yakin, when he died. And it's no disrespect, but when we comparing, because that's what Muslims used to do, which one will survive? If you coming to us talking about John Henry Clark, we don't mean no disrespect to him, but we got to compare now. Because if I'm telling you that Islam gonna survive, and you telling me about John Henry Clark, we got to compare now. We got to see which better, Biggie or Tupac. So now I'm about to start naming all the Tupac songs I think that's better than Biggie. I'm about to start talking about his lyricism. That's the type of stuff we about to start talking, because they ain't the same. No matter what you want to say. The messenger is not the same as any of these black leaders. So if we talking about leaders, now we going to have to compare. And when you compare the messenger to any leader, start with their death. Let's start there. We ain't going to start talking about how they started out, what they did in the middle of their little leadership. Let's start at the end. Because we can add up all their accomplishments that they accomplished at the end of their life. You show me one black leader that died at the top. The messenger was still climbing the ladder when he died. He wasn't falling off. All praise is due to Allah. When Wallace D. Muhammad started destroying the nation, and he was telling people that the Nation of Islam was in debt. That's why he was saying that he was selling all of the businesses. Because he was saying that the nation was in debt. And he was telling everybody that the messenger kept that a secret. But in the Jet magazine, the messenger's creditors and the people who he had open loans with was saying his credit good with us. He been paying on time with us. We don't know what he talking about. And these are the creditors for the messenger taking up for the messenger when the hypocrite talking about, oh, we in debt, so we got to sell all the businesses. Name me a person when the messenger built the office and sales building that's in Chicago. He has so much credit with in finance and economics that I'm talking about around the world, not just in America or just in Chicago. I'm talking about he had credit with nations overseas. So when the messenger was building this office and sale building that in 1972 was $2 million. In 1972, $2 million was more than what $2 million is today. But during that time when the messenger said he picked out the construction company, which was the largest black construction company in America at that time. I believe it was the Bush Construction Company, black-owned, largest black-owned construction company in the nation. The messenger did this. Name a leader who had a building built by the largest black construction company in America. Not only did he do that, but before he even signed the contract or put money down for the project, they had already started building the building. Just on his word. Just on the fact that he said, okay, I want it here. We bought the land, so you the construction company that I want to do it. They already showing a picture of these brothers bringing their tractors in, bringing the cement machines, start building the building before even the contract was signed. Show me a leader that did that, ever. Show me a leader that a country gave them a loan. Not talking about some entertainer or talking about some loan you got from a friend. I'm talking about a country. A leader of a country give you a loan. You establishing trade with countries. What black leader did that? So when we talking about the messenger is the last and the greatest messenger of Allah, these are the things we talking about. We're not here trying to disrespect John Henry Clark. We're not here because they are brothers too. They try, even John Henry Clark disagreed with the messenger. He used to talk about the messenger. His articles of him speaking against the messenger back in the 60s, 70s. He liked Malcolm X. So these leaders who black people are worshiping today are leaders who are well acquainted with the messenger. Well acquainted with the messenger. So when Muslims sympathize with these leaders now, do you know what this brother was saying about the messenger? Do Muslims who like John Henry Clark or Yosef Ben Yakini, you know what he was saying about the messenger? Yeah, they can over time, you know, because John Henry Clark also said some good things about the messenger. But what that mean? What that mean if you tearing the messenger down and you say, oh yeah, but he did do good with the fish. That ain't giving the messenger props. You still cutting him just like with your mom. I always like to go with your mom. What if somebody talking about your mom? Talking about she ugly, she dirty, she ain't no good. But yo, I like her car. She got a nice car though. Or I like that outfit she got on, but she's stupid. I like that outfit she got on, but I can't trust her. You gonna be like, oh, he like my mama too? No. Oh, you can't give people props and then cut them down, and that's what all these leaders do. All praise is due to Allah. When leaders will talk about the messenger, they'll say, oh, I don't mean no disrespect to the messenger, but Malcolm X was really the one who put the nation on the map. No, man, you're not giving the messenger props. You doing that just to butter us up so we don't say nothing like, oh, he giving them. No, man, when you get a messenger prop, you saying he the last and the greatest messenger of Allah. All praise is due to Allah. You saying he the best leader that ever lived in the hells of North, that's giving the messenger props. But if you saying he was alright, or you comparing him to Marcus Garvey, nah, you're not giving him props. You talking about he borrowed. That's what people say now. The messenger borrowed from Marcus. What did he borrow from Marcus Garvey? What did he borrow? If the messenger was successful, and Marcus Garvey wasn't, because the white man destroyed him, what did he borrow from? If you look at Malcolm X, and people say, you know, that Malcolm X was really the one who put the nation on the map. Well, if Malcolm was the one putting the nation on the map, what happened when he did the Muslim Mosque Incorporated? What happened with that? If he put the nation on the map, people say that when Malcolm X came, they say it was like 3 or 4 temples, like 500 people. You know, this is the kind of stuff they say, but they not hating on the messenger. The messenger started the nation in the 30s. Malcolm ain't even here at Islam to what I think the end of the 40s, early 50s. But he put him on the map. When they talk about the militancy, they talk about Malcolm X. But what happened to the militancy when he had his organization? These are the things when you start comparing, when you say which one will survive. It's the messenger. And when the messenger was alive, brothers wasn't trying to have unity with people who was not all the way down with the messenger. And that's why you see the Muslims during the time of the messenger had a different fire than you see Muslims had today. Because they was supporting the messenger 100%. And in this article, getting back to the article, he says, we will work with any group whose programs are in harmony with ours. We cannot work with those whose teachings run contrary to that which Allah has revealed to his messenger, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. We feel, however, that each group now is beginning to see that whatever phase of our problem is to be solved, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad has already solved. We're getting closer to the day when all black groups will come under the heading of the Nation of Islam and the unity of brotherhood. So that's what unity meant. We see that they talking black, so we see they getting closer, but they ain't there yet. We still ain't gonna unite with nobody whose teachings run contrary to the teachings of the messenger. That was in 1972. Now let's go even further back to 1966. And it's the same national representative. And this is how we can tell from believing as the messenger believes. Because when the messenger talked about unity, he said, if what you have is better than what I have, I'll come, or what you have is better than what I have, I'll take my followers and come follow you. But if what I have is better than what you have, you should take your followers and come follow me. That was unity. Then we see that in this 1966 Muhammad Speaks, the former national representative said, it says, the faithful representative of Muhammad's Mosque number 7 in New York City concluded his talk by urging all blacks, regardless of religious or political beliefs, to unite under the star and crescent of Islam and rally behind our great leader and teacher, the most honorable Elijah Muhammad. It's still the same. Regardless of what your political or religious difference is, you need to come follow the messenger. That was fundamental when you talk about the Muslims, because the Muslims wasn't trying to represent themselves. When you saw ministers during the time of the messenger, it wasn't because I'm so smart or because I know how to, represent the teachings of the messenger better than anybody. That wasn't the case. The messenger's teaching stood alone. That's how Islam was during the time of the messenger. And we find that when the Muhammad Speaks newspapers came out, the titles of the Muhammad Speaks newspaper was straight up. It says Muhammad has the better plan. This is what the Muhammad Speaks newspaper was. And you had and this was in 1966. It says Muhammad has the better plan, straight up. We know that it's a lot of leaders. We know the Panthers out here. We know it's still people who believe in Marcus Garvey. But Muhammad has the better plan. That's how Muslims used to represent the messenger's teachings. It wasn't no disrespect. We ain't disrespecting the Panthers, but we have principles. We have fundamental principles. And before the Black Panther Party was on the scene, the messenger was out, and that's not a lie. That's how Muslims felt. Why we gonna follow the Panthers when their program is copied off the messenger? That's how Muslims used to talk. It's not disrespect. That's facts. You have books written about the Black Panther Party talking about showing you how or what they took from the messenger back page of the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. I mean, these lost founds writing these books. Lost founds talking about how the Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee, which a lot of the Panthers come from, used to go to the temple in Atlanta, Georgia. That's what they saying. The Student Nonviolent Coordinating Committee also had a year's subscription to the Muhammad Speaks. This is stuff that they say. So why we gonna sit up there and act like the Panthers equal to the messenger? It's no disrespect to them, but that's not a fact. You can't show me facts, but people who want to discredit the messenger try to put everybody all in the same, and it's like, no. But the fire of the Muslims don't counter that, because we act like, now they talk about the Black Panthers had the free breakfast program, and now they trying to equate that to the restaurants and business and farmland at the messenger, and there's no comparison. Because another thing that I like about doing research on the nation is when you read publications of other black religious or other black publications, they compare the Black Panther Party. And the things people feel about the Black Panther Party today is not what they felt about them then. And Muslims didn't either. It's another Muhammad Speaks newspaper that say, this is the way, Muhammad. And you see all of these people and the messenger with his open arms out. These were front page articles in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper showing people that the messenger was the one. And this was the fire of the Muslims, just representing the messenger, not representing unity like it's all of us and we all trying to come together. A lot of things about Islam today is totally different from when it was under the messenger. Here's another Muhammad Speaks newspaper that says Elijah Muhammad. And then we see the cartoon. It says, for the first time, the lost found returns. And it says, and he shall turn the hearts of the fathers to the children, and the hearts of the children to the fathers. And it gives the chapter in the Bible, which is the 4th chapter of Malachi. They was even taking scriptures showing black people the messenger was prophesied of in prophecy. That's who he is. He the last and the great. We can show you from Bible, Holy Quran, everything, the hadiths. When brothers was talking about the hadith, they weren't trying to use it to say we about to go and do Juma. They weren't using it trying to say we about to do the fast with the Orthodox Muslims. See, that was fundamental when you was with the messenger back in the day. Wasn't no Muslims going to no Juma. That's just facts. And that's when you say a true believer believes as the messenger believes. When did the messenger show a picture in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper of him and doing Juma? Or when did he have anything telling us to fast? He even taught us not to fast with them. But in today's Islam, it's not the same fire. It's not the same fire for the fundamental principles of the teachings. It's a lot of fire about your new interpretation of the teachings. Your new interpretation of the teachings that make it okay for the sister not to wear a headpiece. Or make it okay for white people to come to the temple. Like, that's what the fire is. It's the fire to support our leader, change the teachings of the messenger. We can have all of these groups and all of these big nations. Just imagine if all of these people were just as fiery about the teachings of the messenger as Muslims was back during the messenger time. But we so divided up into this my leader, and I think he the one who's supposed to be leading us when the messenger say I'm the last. All praises due to Allah. All these Muslims. If we would all as Muslims just stick to and be true to what we say we believe in, we would have what we need. We would have what we need, but now we don't have what we need. And that's another thing that changes about the teachings of the messenger. It wasn't just spiritual talk when the messenger was alive. They had it was an economic program in the Nation of Islam under the messenger. It wasn't just all this spiritual talk about how this brother is so divine and how he's so wise. That's how the Nation of Islam is now. It's not talking about black economy. It's not talking about employing black people. That was a part of the religion of Islam. They used to have cartoons in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper telling brothers, if you need a job, go to your local mosque. They used to have want ads in the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. I'm talking about for engineers, farmers, construction workers, like big jobs. It wasn't nothing, no little, you know what I'm saying? It wasn't like how it is today. We don't have want ads no more. Like if we got a big group, all we doing is trying to promote our version of Islam. But the messenger also had an economic program. He had a moral program. You couldn't just do what you wanted to do. They had the brother, one of these brothers was rapping in his FOI uniform. You know, he on stage cussing with a FOI uniform on. Now, it's Muslims who was like, they didn't like that. Because there's still some Muslims in their heart that's like, come on, man, like, how far you gonna go? Like, you gonna let this brother rap in a FOI uniform, cussing? Like, come on. So, the brothers was criticizing this brother for rapping in his FOI uniform, cussing. Then you had a big leader defending the brother who in his FOI uniform cussing. Talking about none of us are perfect. That's what he said. That's new school Islam. Let up, bro, man, I bet you them FOI would have drugged that brother off of the stage. What you doing in the greatest military uniform that has ever been made and designed by the messenger? And you on stage cussing. You rapping. Now we got sisters who rapping. I mean, and be in front of the temple with the FOI standing around her while she rapping. That's new school Islam, brother. The sisters ain't supposed to be rapping. That's one thing that's different from the Nation of Islam under the messenger. It's like Muslims are going to Christianity instead of leading people away from Christianity. You didn't see sisters trying to act like they rapping or doing anything as far as entertainment. It wasn't that. But it's now Muslims are going more towards Christianity and leading less people to Islam. It's like, what you got is good too. So I'm a rap. Sisters wearing makeup while they rapping. That's why when the messenger with his son, and we must go back to his son, his own son, when his son was not keeping in line with the teachings of the messenger, he classified him as a hypocrite. This was his son. And then if we look at January 1st, 1965, look at all the hypocrites that was hypocrites in 1965. Malcolm turned hypocrite, Wallace turned hypocrite, and Akbar. But the messenger, when you look at the Muhammad Speaks newspapers in 1965, the messenger didn't waste no whole lot of time talking about them. Like it wasn't no like the National Enquirer. You gonna get the Muhammad Speaks and see I wonder what the messenger gonna say now that Akbar. No, he a hypocrite. We still talking about unity. We still trying to get farmland. He didn't change the Muhammad Speaks to turn it into no gossip tabloid. Now you about to hear the juice. No, the messenger kept on going. All praise is due to Allah. He kept on going. He didn't change what he was doing because of Wallace. He tell you he a hypocrite and that's it. We gonna keep going forward. And that lets you know that the messenger was the man. Allah chose the right one. Because we all human. Sometimes I read the Muhammad Speak and be in disbelief. I'm not even gonna lie. Sometimes when I read stuff in the Muhammad, you know you gotta put it down like, dang, like ain't nothing knocked the messenger off his square. His son, his youngest son, you see pictures of him with him and when he went to the east, so he loved his son. He loved his son like anybody loved his son, but when his son did something that wasn't in line with what Master Farad Muhammad taught the messenger, you a hypocrite, just that quick. And he kept it moving because Wallace and Akbar turned hypocrite at the same time. The messenger didn't stop. The messenger didn't try to cut them no slack. He still had articles in the Muhammad Speaks describing what a hypocrite is to the believers, showing them where they can find the descriptions of the hypocrites in the Holy Quran, all of that. And when we listened to the laborers meeting, the messenger said about Wallace, he said he can boil in hell, broil in hell, or burn in hell. Like, it don't make no difference to me. That's what he said about his son. So think about now, you gonna tell me that you think we should practice Scientology and you trying to tell me the messenger would be, no, this is a waste of time then. A lot of this stuff that we accept as Muslims now, if that's true, then all of this was, the messenger didn't have to do this to Akbar. If we supposed to be in Dianetics, why would the messenger stick so hard to what Master Farad Muhammad taught him for us now to be sitting up here talking about a sister ain't got to wear a headpiece? He kicked his son to the curb. Told all the believers, he known as a hypocrite with me and the people who follow me. Turning everybody against your son, your youngest son, the baby. For us not to be talking about, oh, I think that, when we talking about the black man's God, we don't have to pray. And you think the messenger would go against that? Go with that. Come on. Or the messenger would say this brother, some minister, who he made a minister, now he the messenger of Allah right now. Or that he in charge and he could just tell us anything. And the messenger would go with that. That's why I advise all Muslims to read the Muhammad Speaks newspaper. Because a lot of the things that the messenger did, there's no way that he would go with a lot of the stuff that's going on now and have done that. And this is one of them. Because Akbar was his youngest son. He sent Akbar to Al-Azhar University in Egypt. He didn't go to no regular little college over here in America. He went to the best college in Egypt. That's like one of the oldest colleges like in the world. That's a known college, Al-Azhar University. And that's where he sent his son. He put all of his time and effort teaching them from the cradle, all of that. But as soon as he turned hypocrite, what'd he say? He known as a hypocrite to me. So we don't want to prolong the time, brothers and sisters. So I'll leave you as I came in the Nation of Islam's greeting words of peace of Assalamu alaikum. Pass the buckets. And the Rafiq family sent the greetings. We'd like to return the greetings to the Rafiq family. All right, brothers and sisters, we rise for prayer. In the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, all praise is due to Allah, the Lord of the worlds, the Beneficent, the Merciful, sole Master's day of judgment in which we now live. Thee alone do we serve, thee alone beseech for thine help and aid. O Allah, guide us on the right path, the path of those upon whom thou bestow thy favors, not on the path of those upon whom thy wrath is brought down, nor those who go astray if they heard thy teachings. Say he Allah is one God, Allah is he of whom nothing is independent, but upon whom we all depend. He begetteth not, nor is he begotten, there was none like him. And I bear witness and none are to be served, worship of praise beside Allah, who came in the person of Master Farad Muhammad. And I bear witness that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, our true servant and last apostle. Amen. Honorable Elijah Muhammad taught us not to do anything to anyone that we wouldn't have done it to ourselves, to treat everybody right, even the devil. Assalamu alaikum.